Rogers, and I am the daughter of National Sales Director Connie Kitson. I'm also a national leadership consultant and have teamed up with the leadership speaker and author John C. Maxwell to bring leadership resources to the Mary Kay world. I have the incredible opportunity to travel around the nation and share my story, which I call Growing Up Pink. And my hope is that by sharing my story, I can give back to Mary Kay Cosmetics, the company that gave my mom a career opportunity that truly changed and enriched her life and our family's way of life. You see, when it comes to their children, many beauty consultants feel guilty about putting time and energy into their Mary Kay business because they want to give their children that time and energy. But I hope that by hearing my story, you will see the significance in making your children the reason to work your business. If you are listening to this and are not currently a beauty consultant, my guess is that someone gave you this CD to help you gain more knowledge about a career in Mary Kay and how this opportunity can impact not only you, but your entire family. And if you are listening to this and you don't have kids, I encourage you to take this information and pass it on to your team members, family, or friends who do have children. I'm going to share with you how Growing Up Pink has shaped me to become the person I am today and give you tips on how to involve your children in your Mary Kay business. So let's get started. My mom began Mary Kay when I was 5 and my brother Scott was 2. I am now 23 and Scott is 20. My mom became a consultant to earn an extra $50 a week to put me in piano and dance lessons. But soon after my mom started her business, she became single, and my mom's Mary Kay is what provided us with food, clothing, and shelter. If my mom didn't work, we didn't eat, so she was extremely motivated to make her business work. It was really hard at first because before my mom started her business, she was definitely motherhood smotherhood. Can you relate? My brother and I had never, ever had a babysitter. My mom didn't even go to the grocery store without us. Of course, we went to Sunday school on Sunday, but she was our Sunday school teacher. As a result, when my mom started Mary Kay, it was a big, huge transition, not only for Scott and I, but also for her. Have you felt a little guilty when working your business? Have your kids cried when you had to leave for a skincare class? Or maybe you have thought by you working, you are going to mess your kids up or miss out on something great in their lives. My mom's why, her reason for working, was for me and my brother. She wanted to have a job with flexibility so she could be involved in our lives and stay at home and raise us. Did she feel a little guilty when she first started? Of course, because she was gone sometimes to do facials and hold interviews. But it was never for very long. And yes, did we cry in the beginning when she left to hold a class? Of course we did in the beginning. In fact, Scott used to grab onto my mom's leg and beg her not to leave. Did my mom's Mary Kay business mess us up? No, not at all. In fact, my mom's career has shaped me to become the person I am today. And it is scary to think of who I would have become and where I would be today, right now, if my mom had not been offered this incredible opportunity. Because my mom was single, we worked with her and helped her in her business. As a result, right away, we felt that Mary Kay was our family business. Even when I was 5 years old, I was in charge of labeling products, and as I got older, my responsibilities grew. Because my mom had a home-based business, she was there for us when we left for school in the morning, and she was there for us when we came home after school. I was young when she started, so I really have grown up pink. In Mary Kay, you set goals. So as Mary Kay kids, we set goals too. We always had a goal poster along with my mom's goal posters. In fact, we had quarterly prizes just like my mom did. At the beginning of every quarter, we would go through a JCPenney's catalog and pick something to work for. We would cut out the prize we were working for, make multiple copies of it, and paste a picture of it on the fridge and on our big gold jar. Our big gold jar was where we saved all of our money which went toward the prize we were working for. Both my brother and I had our very own gold jar. And on the side of our gold jar was a picture of a thermometer, which tracked how much we saved. Every time we earned money, we would color in the thermometer so we would see how much more we needed to earn. When my mom was working for her red car, I was working for my hot pink scooter, and Scott was working for his Fisher-Price bubble-blowing lawnmower. Our first job was simply to go to the babysitter and not cry. In fact, we got $1 for every time we went to the babysitter while my mom held a class or an interview. The first couple times, Scott cried. Then he finally figured out that every time my mom left, we both got $1 to go in the gold jar. Pretty soon, we were pushing her out the door. We wanted our prize. In fact, I would even ask my mom how many bookings she had each week. You see, I was trying to track how long it was going to take me to earn my hot pink scooter. We also had family goals. Our first family goal was a trip to Disneyland. I remember we had that trip to Disneyland on our family goal poster for several years before we finally got to go. But let me tell you, I will never forget that trip to Disneyland. We worked so hard for that, and Mary Kay paid for it. I remember sitting in the plane, and there was another family next to us, also on their way to Disneyland. I leaned over and asked, "Mary Kay is paying for our trip to Disneyland. Who's paying for yours?" Even at a young age, I got it. I understood that Mary Kay wasn't just my mom's job. It was our family business, which meant we were all in this together, working this business together. I had a desk at the end of my mom's desk. I colored and stamped brochures and stapled newsletters while my mom was talking on the phone. What was so great about this is that I was listening to my mom talk. I was hearing her communicate with customers and team members. I was learning phone skills, people skills, and communication skills while sitting next to her. What goes in your kids' ears comes out their mouths. We would also always help my mom with orders. In fact, our UPS man became our friend. We knew his name and would give him treats every time he dropped off my mom's product orders. At first, Scott's job was to simply take the product out of the box and put all the peanuts back in the box. My job was to label. I took great pride in making sure that the label went on straight and in the appropriate place. Then Scott would put each product back in its box. Of course, at first, the flawless and waterproof mascaras got mixed up. You see, Scott couldn't read. However, it didn't take long. Pretty soon, we were an expert team of labelers, and we rarely made mistakes. We would get 1 cent per product to put in our gold jar, and we did this as a team. My mom also had a toy box for Scott. He was definitely active. My mom would bring down the toy box when she was on the phone, and Scott got to pick one special toy while my mom made phone calls. Scott only got to pick from the special toy box when my mom was working on the phone. Because these were the special toys, it was a big deal when my mom got the toy box down for Scott. And you know, it worked. He kept quiet when she needed to make those important calls. We also had a snack drawer that we got to pick from when my mom went on the phone. This was great because it kept us occupied when she was making calls. When your kids have food in their mouth, they are quiet. My mom also used a timer to track the amount of time she worked her business and the time she spent with us. She would set the timer and make calls for 30 minutes. After those 30 minutes were up, she would get 15 minutes of playtime with us. After our 15 minutes were up, she would get back on the phone for 30 minutes. We would do this throughout the day. You see, we knew that when my mom was on the phone, that she was working, and we were not allowed to interrupt her. We would count down those 30 minutes because we knew that when that time was up, we were going to get 15 minutes of mom time, either playing Chutes and Ladders, Candyland, or playing on the swing set in the backyard. And this was 15 minutes of mom time. If someone came by the house or if the phone rang, my mom didn't answer it. This was uninterrupted quality time that we had with our mom over and over again throughout the day. I can't even explain how priceless this time was. Another way we spent quality time with our mom was in the car. We would always ride with her when she made deliveries. We would rotate from listening to motivational Mary Kay tapes and John Maxwell tapes with our kids' sing-alongs. What we were hearing was sinking in, and I believe that is why I always wanted to work for John C. Maxwell. I had grown up listening to his tapes for so many years. Every time we went to make deliveries, we would get an ice cream or get a stop for a Happy Meal for being such a great team. We thought it was totally fun. Also, when we made deliveries, there were certain select customers that we got to take the delivery to the door to. And these customers loved it that Scott and I were the ones delivering their product. My mom would teach me a script before I went up, so I knew exactly what to say. In fact, I still remember it. "Thank you, Miss Smith, for your order. We greatly appreciate your business. Your total today is $50.25, and you can make your check out to my mom, Connie Kitson. And Miss Smith, I want you to know that we also put some free samples in your bag. And that plum lipstick is going to look absolutely fabulous with the sweater you are wearing. My mom will follow up with you in about a week just to make sure you are absolutely loving your products. Have a great day, Miss Smith. Because of all my practice talking with my mom's customers, I was equipped for all my Girl Scout cookie sales and my school magazine contests. I wasn't afraid and was always the top seller at school or in my troop. My mom would help me come up with a script. I would learn my lines before I went up to the door, make eye contact, smile, and nod, just like you're taught in Mary Kay. Because Mary Kay was our family business, we were constantly telling my mom to hand out her card or telling everyone in the grocery store how my mom had earned her red car. We got her several recruits and bookings. In fact, I remember being in the parking lot of a convenience store, and my mom had just earned her car. We saw her friend Carol, and before my mom could even get out of the car and say anything, I had already rolled down the window, stuck my head out, and said, "Carol, my mom just earned this new car from Mary Kay, and you can too." Of course, Carol said, "Connie, you really did earn this new car?" And my mom said, "Yes, Carol, I'm a beauty consultant with Mary Kay." Carol ended up not having a consultant, and of course my mom had a beauty book, samples, and recruiting material in the trunk of her car, and before we got home that night, Carol had left a message to schedule her facial the very next day. And after her facial, Carol also signed her beauty consultant agreement. We would always help my mom set up and tear down for her open houses and weekly success meetings. She would tell us how she wanted the room to be set up, and we were in charge of making sure that it looked great and that all the chairs were straight. We would help my mom make gift baskets too. At first, our job was to simply make the pull bows. Then we advanced to holding the basket when my mom used the heat gun. Finally, we worked our way up to using the heat gun. Scott had a little too much fun with that heat gun. We had to cut him off from using it. He melted way too many products. By middle school, I was doing all of the displays, gift baskets, and gift wrapping, and I absolutely loved it. Next, I want to take a second to talk about weekly and monthly plan sheets. Do you use a weekly plan sheet? Do you have a family weekly plan sheet? Well, we did, and it worked great. We hung our family weekly plan sheet on the fridge and in my mom's office. The last day of every month, we would sit down and plan the next month as a family. Everything was color-coded. Red was my mom's recruiting events and interviews. Pink was her success meetings or trainings. Green were her classes and facials. Yellow was our family time, our trips, our movie nights, and any special family functions. Purple was our church activities and commitments. Blue was Scott's activities, games, practices, and dentist and doctor appointments. And orange were all of my activities, sporting games, practice, dentist and doctor appointments. Our weekly plan sheet acted as a visual. Everyone always knew what everyone else was doing. Also, because we didn't have a cell phone at the time, if my mom was doing an evening appointment, she would put the phone number and the address of where she would be just in case there was an emergency. We were responsible to bring our game schedules, and we always knew that we had to bring them in advance so my mom could plan around our activities. Now, of course, sometimes my mom would have to miss a game here or there, but she made the majority of them. Plus, I played sports for me, and I was involved in these activities because I wanted to be, not for my mom, so it wasn't a huge deal if she had to miss a game because she was working our business. And of course, if she missed a game, I made sure to share with her all the highlights. You see, we understood that my mom took our Mary Kay business very seriously. This was our livelihood, but more importantly, my mom had goals she was working for. When she reached her goals, as a family, we reached goals too. Of course, we learned to drive in the pink Cadillac while making deliveries. You see, my mom is a very smart woman. When we had our learner's permit, we got to practice driving while making product deliveries. And by the time we got our license, we knew where all of my mom's customers lived, and we were able to totally take over doing all of the product deliveries. In fact, Scott even got tips when he made deliveries. My mom's customers think he is so cute. When your kids are older, it's obviously a lot easier to have them help in your office. And remember, it is really important that you reward them for helping you. Here are some examples on how your older children can help you in your business. They can place orders on Mary Kay and Touch. The reality is, your kids probably know more about your computer than you do. They can pull, ship, and deliver all of your customer orders. They can take inventory. They can wrap your customer gifts, team member prizes, or even your top 20% prizes if you're a director. They can create facial boxes and place them around town. They can clean your facial mirrors. They can babysit your customer or team members' children. Your kids can help you with your errands like grocery shopping, dry cleaning, running to the post office. Let's be real, these are not income-producing activities. Your children can be doing these things for you. They can make copies. They can set up and clean up after your facials. They can set up and tear down for your holiday open house. They can set up your training center. They can load and unload your car before and after a skincare class or event. They can sort and collate your newsletters. They can vacuum and take out the garbage in your office. They can create flyers for your special events or your product promotions. And if you have kids, I hope they're acting as your Velocity girl or guy by modeling, using, and sharing all the awesome Velocity products with their friends. Did you know that your kids can earn over $4,000 tax-free per year as long as they are over 6 and under 18 and are actually working in your Mary Kay business? You're going to give your kids money anyway. Why not have them earn it and you realize the tax benefits? Know that when you involve your kids in your business, no matter what their age, it is probably going to take you a little longer to do a task because you're either going to be doing it with them or you have to take the time to teach them how to do it. Know that your children are going to make mistakes, but you are spending time with them and they are learning in the process. I was 5 years old when I was in charge of labeling all the products, and by the time I was in high school, I was able to run my mom's entire office and office staff. In fact, when I graduated from college, I was my mom's office manager. I answered her phones, ran her website, produced her unit and national area newsletter, planned her entire national debut, made all of her deliveries, placed all of our orders on Mary Kay in Touch, called and served all of her personal customers, as well as trained and assisted her directors in office organizational systems. In fact, when my mom got back from her last top director trip, I had the entire inside of our house tile, carpeted, painted, and reorganized by the time she got home. You see, it all started because my mom took the time to involve me in the business, and she made me feel that Mary Kay was our family business. She rewarded me for my help, and it all started by the smallest task. For me, it was labeling products. Now, it was not always about Scott and I helping my mom. Of course, we were very active kids and very involved at school and in several different sports and extracurricular activities. Isn't it fantastic that with Mary Kay, you have the flexibility so you don't have to miss your kids' special events? I encourage you to be creative and find ways to work your business around and at your kids' activities. I remember that my school open houses always landed on Mondays, and that was my mom's meeting night. So she would call my teachers and ask for a private open house session right after school so she could still make it to her success meeting. My mom always made it a point to be at every game and special event she could. Scott and I both played on traveling sports teams and had tournaments every weekend in a new city. What was so great is that my mom was able to travel to all of these tournaments with us and would work Mary Kay at the same time. If my mom had a team member in the city we were traveling to, she would make sure to schedule a time to meet with them to train and work with them in their business. She would go see them during one of our breaks or have them come to the tournament. If my mom didn't have a consultant in the city we were playing in, she flat out found customers, and she would do on-the-go appointments while sitting in the stands. Many of these on-the-go appointments led to personal recruits and the building of my mom's national area. I remember my mom would always come to my school volleyball games in her director suit. And to be honest, sometimes I just really wanted her to wear that Team Mom shirt. But you know, people asked what she did because she looked so sharp. And as a result, she had tons of customers and personal recruits because she worked her business while sitting in the stands. In fact, my mom got voted hottest mom by all the senior guys at my high school because she always looked so professional and put together. My senior year of college, I came home for my brother's last high school baseball game. Of course, we drove up in the pink Cadillac, and both my mom and I had our own basket full of deliveries for all of her customers in the stands. And it was so funny. My mom said, "Kristin, I have to tell you this. The right fielder's mom is a consultant. The second baseman's mom has been a personal use consultant and just committed to work her business full time. The shortstop's mom is a senior consultant. The pitcher's mom is a DIQ, and the first baseman's mom was just recruited by the pitcher's mom. You see, by the time Scott was a senior in high school, my mom had formed a whole team of Mary Kay moms and Mary Kay customers in the stands. It's truly phenomenal what can happen when you work your business at your kids' activities. You know, I worked side by side with my mom for 17 years, and I truly believe that working side by side with her is the reason I have the exceptional leadership skills, drive, and a can-do attitude. Our Mary Kay business became our family business, and our business was key to my personal growth. What is caught is so much more than what is taught. I learned life skills from my mom in our Mary Kay business. You know, I watched my mom work when she was sick, tired, disappointed, and discouraged, but she worked anyway. When I was in grade school, my mom's office was in our laundry room, and she had a card table as a desk and a metal folding chair. Can you imagine? What an office with the sight and smell of dirty laundry. If my mom hadn't made her sales goals for the week, she would shut the door to the laundry room while I was in charge of watching Scott. She was committed to not coming out until she sold $100 in product. Some days she would only be in there for a couple minutes. Other days it was much longer. If it was one of those long days, I would slide a note under the door, and she would slide it back with the amount she still needed to sell. But I knew when she made her goal, we were off to the park or to Dairy Queen for an ice cream. My mom was self-disciplined in her Mary Kay career. You simply have to be when you decide to be your own boss. When you're a beauty consultant, you decide when you work, and you decide how much you want to be paid. I meet a lot of consultants who get discouraged in their business because they get rejected, have no sales, or no shows. And instead of using this as an opportunity to grow themselves and their skills, many times they get negative. They make excuses, or even decide to quit their business. This is what I say to those people. If your son was to go outside and shoot 3 baskets, and he missed every one, would you tell him not to try out for the basketball team? Of course not. So next time you get a no, you get discouraged, or you start to think, is Mary Kay for me? Think about this. Your kids are watching you, and you are leading them by example. They are learning from your example, good or bad. And the same is true even if you're not a beauty consultant in Mary Kay. You are still leading your kids. From growing up pink, I caught how to solve problems, make decisions, and come up with creative solutions. If it was a Monday night or an evening where my mom had an appointment, we were in charge of planning dinner. My mom would give us X amount of money, and we had to call all the pizza delivery places and find the best special and place the order. We had all the numbers to the pizza places memorized and always knew what specials were going on. Many times we would call 3 to 4 places just to ensure we were getting the best deal. I remember my mom saying, "Gosh, Kristin and Scott, you're sure getting a lot of money in your gold jar. Are you giving the pizza man a tip?" Oops! We had to do the same thing when planning our dentist and doctor appointments, and even our haircuts. By making these appointments and even making the decision on what type of pizza to order, it was equipping us to make life decisions. In college, I lived in a sorority, and in a sorority, because you sleep so close to all the other girls, if one girl got sick, everyone got sick. I remember the first time we all got sick, and it surprised me. Many of the girls in my sorority didn't even know how to make their own doctor's appointments, let alone have a clue on how their insurance worked. You see, their mom had always taken care of this for them. I got all the girls together and said, "Okay, let's meet in the formal dining room. I need to tell you about copays." Even at a young age, my mom had us making decisions on even what outfit we were going to wear to school, and pretty soon we were able to dress ourselves. I remember she used to hold up 2 outfits and would say, "Kristin, do you want to wear this one or this one?" I would choose, and then she would have me pick out a bow for my hair that would match the outfit. When it was time to do school shopping, I worked for extra school clothes money. This really motivated me. I loved clothes. I would go to the mall with my friends, and I would pick out what I wanted and put it on hold. Then I would go back to the mall with my mom to make my purchases. The thing was that I knew exactly how much money I had, and I had to make the decision on what things I wanted. The first year we did this, I picked out 7 pairs of shoes. I remember my mom saying, "Kristin, are you sure you want 7 pairs of shoes?" I said, "Yep, I'm sure." Now, of course, my mom could have argued with me and told me that I couldn't have 7 pairs of shoes, but she didn't. Well, a week later, I was complaining I didn't have khakis, jeans, or sweaters to wear with my 7 pairs of shoes. And all my mom said was, "Kristin, you chose to have those 7 pairs of shoes. And if you want or think that you need more clothes, you can work to get the money to go shopping. You see, I caught how to make decisions and the importance of making good decisions. Because of my mom and our Mary Kay business, I caught how to create vision and focus for my life. My mom knew when she started this business 17 years ago that she wanted to be a national sales director. She had a vision and she stayed focused on her vision every single day. The pathway to reaching national sales director was not easy. In fact, many times I know she felt frustrated. However, she had a vision. God had a plan for our life, and she stayed focused on her vision every day. I learned to be persistent and consistent by watching my mom work in our business. My mom works her business to the very best of her ability every single day. She is consistent in every aspect of Mary Kay. My mom didn't fly to the top, but she gave it her all every day. I watched my mom stand in front of the mirror and practice her skincare class over and over again. And by watching my mom's consistency and persistence in Mary Kay, I too became persistent and consistent in the things that I did. I learned leadership skills from my mom. I've watched my mom train at meetings, work with all different types of people from all walks of life. I've watched her create systems, delegate, support, motivate, and coach women to greatness. I've watched my mom transform from a quiet, unconfident woman to a strong, empowering leader. I can say that I've always known what my mom's done as a consultant, director, and national sales director. I've always known her goals, I've known when she failed, and I've watched her get up and try again. What is caught is so much more than what is taught. As a beauty consultant, my advice to you is show your kids what's in it for them. What benefits will they get from you working your Mary Kay? And if you're not a consultant, I highly recommend that you consider a career in Mary Kay Cosmetics. I am sure the person that gave you this CD is just dying to share more information about this incredible opportunity with you. Remember, find ways to involve your children in your business. Hire them to work with you. Reward them accordingly. Understand that they might not do things perfectly, and it may take more time in the beginning, but your children are learning and you are spending time with them in the process. Let go of your guilt that you might have when you are working your Mary Kay business. You have the opportunity to lead by example and have a positive impact on your children's lives. Your children, your family will be receiving many great gifts and life lessons because of you working your business. I can honestly say that I was able to step out on faith and move across the country to pursue my dream of working with John C. Maxwell because of the example my mom has shown me. I am so excited that you too will be able to equip your children with these same qualities and skills because of your career choice and your commitment to growing yourself. I consider myself blessed to have grown up pink, and I truly thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share my story and hopefully give you a glimpse of what this incredible opportunity can do for you and your kids.
If you would like to purchase additional copies of this CD, find out about the new John C. Maxwell product, Leadership Essentials, designed specifically for Mary Kay, or to book Kristin to do a Growing Up Pink event in your area, please visit our website at www.growinguppink.com. That's www.growinguppink.com. Or call 1-888-556-2308. That's 1-888-556-2308.